Hello again. Grown Black Folk Story Time. The Art of Professional Party Crashing, Part 2. Alright, the party has been crashed, and I'm on my way back to my house. But since I had time to go look at San Francisco Bay, I had time to come back and go to the top of my favorite, well, not quite the top, halfway up to the top of my favorite hill on my route and just sit, de-stress, and consider all I learned today. What I want to tell you about this is, let me tell you a little bit about this conference. This is the ACAMS conference, ACAMS, and it is about financial technology. And this was their crypto summit. Now, later on in the month, they're having an online summit about law enforcement and financial technology. These are some very high-level conversations, very high-level conferences, and very high level. And of course, the ticket cost reflected this. We're going to see how long this video is going to last. The wind is whipping ferociously on the opposite side of the hill, and that's why I actually stopped here, because the wind has not made it around, but it is going to. So we'll see how long we have. Very, very high level. They're talking about the making of blockchains and about know your customer and anti-money laundering. These very, very high level people. The ticket cost reflected that, $1,195. Now, I don't know about y'all. $1,200 for a single conference. I can get it, but that's not really how I can roll right now. That's really how I want to roll right now. Particularly since I'm not enough of a technologist to be able to make use of all of the information. So I decided what I was going to do. I was going to crash it. Because when you are a professional journalist, you know that people always come to the periphery. Now, there are a few things I learned about doing this that were not clear even true still 2 years ago. Number one, there are no brochures to pick up. Everything is on people's phones. There's no brochures or materials to pick up. So that's over. There's nothing anybody could drop. And then people that are discussing multi-trillions of dollars versus money are also not likely to do that anyway. So this is not the sloppy folks. These are the true high-value men and women if we're going to count it by income and by what they actually handle in life. Again, we're talking about whole blockchains. There's a whole section on decentralized finance, and they called it DeFi, decentralized finance, defiant chains. How do you track down things you can't track down because they're decentralized? And they went into all the technical parts. Basically, for those of you involved in crypto, your days of being able to go to places that do not have KYC in the United States are definitely numbered. And these are some of the people that are going to make those days number happen. Definitely numbered. I would say if that's what you're into, you got till about 2024. Just say. That's just one piece of information I found out. But on being here in the position where I was, you sit down next to people. There was a blockchain consultant who sat down next to me, and he just happened to be on the phone. And the things that he said on the phone showed me a whole nother side of the cryptocurrency industry that people are not talking about. Even on YouTube, when you talk about people who talk about crypto on YouTube, this is not the conversation that people are having. This is deeper information that's available. Sometimes you just have to get to the places where people are that talk about the deep sides of the industry. As a retail investor, this puts me 2 to 3 years ahead of my retail competitors, if you will, people who are trying to buy investments. Now, there's enough room in any kind of investment for everybody to profit, but it just means I know something that a lot of people do not know now. It also means that as a black woman, I can get this information to black women and men also who are interested in it. Now, I say it that way because 77% of my subscriber base is black. It's women, probably black women, a lot of them. But I have some men here as well. And if you had put on a good-looking suit and gone and sat down where I sat down, you would have been in position to get the same information that I did. I can tell you after today, if World War III does break out, there is a financial technology-related reason to why action. You notice that Secretary of State Lloyd Austin did not say, when he was asked what the United States purposes were in Ukraine to help Ukraine defend its sovereign rights, he said to weaken Russia. And then he added, to prevent them from doing things like this again. But there was a little bit of a pause. Pauses are important. There's more reasons than meet the eye. And at a financial technology conference that I crashed, I found out why. Sometimes you just have to be in the place where the information is available and be able to put information together.
Did they kill him?
So because I follow
Like
both
going
geopolitics
to, like-
and I follow cryptocurrency, hey, your big beautiful dog just came past. Because I follow cryptocurrency and geopolitics, I can put these things together. So, this is the situation, y'all. There are always going to be reasons why. There's always going to be people telling you why you cannot go and do certain things. You don't have the money to go do it. You can't afford a $1,200 ticket, therefore you can't get this information. Another thing to think about, since COVID-19, there's two things to look at. Number one, I already knew San Francisco is pretty decent still. San Franciscans are still pretty decent about wearing their masks. People across the rest of the country are trying to act like this is all over. So I already knew I wasn't going to be able to get up and close and personal to too many people because most people would not be masked up. And because I work with senior citizens, being in a crowd like that, that's another reason I didn't spend the $1,200. That's not optional. Now, don't get me wrong. I do have my health technology with me, and I wore it all day. But still, even with an N95 mask that's 95% able to stop stuff, sitting around jaw-jacking with people that are not wearing masks is still not the business. But the other thing about the post-COVID-19 world, people are not as willing to get up in the face of people that they don't know, because when you do that, you're risking your life. That's really been established. So it's not as easy. And then count about the fact that people automatically assume, because there's just not many black people in that field. Although ACOMS was not founded by the traditional people. ACOMS was founded in Asia. So the racial element is not as heavy as it would be had it been founded by a European or an American. There are people of different races who are involved. But even so, people still assume a post-war black woman like me probably doesn't belong having that information. It's just sort of an assumption because of the last 500 years of history in the world. So there are always going to be people telling you that you don't belong and that you don't need this information. Go anyway. Because I found out $1 trillion worth of information anyway. You just have to get really good at telling yourself, yeah, you belong wherever it is, whatever you need to know is. Another thing, like I said, if you're a black man listening to me, because my subscriber base is now about 23% men, you could have gone to Good Looking Suit and sat there and gotten the same information that I did. Information is not discriminatory by race or gender. You just have to have your ears open and be able to put two and two together. Now, I was a professional journalist, so I was trained on how to do this, but it's available to anyone. But I will say this as a woman. For the 77% of my subscriber base that is. It's also good and helps your confidence. It's good to go to situations and places where the men are not so deprived of honor and respect and are not so engaged in immorality that they have to deprive you of the honor of being a woman because you're not a certain age, a certain weight, a certain color. I am an unambiguously black woman, 41 years of age and clearly overweight, who is treated like a lady all day long. And that does something to your confidence when you're out here getting what you need from this world, with or without a man. Now, statistically, if you do these things often enough, guess what? Let's say I stayed till 5:30 when all the different lounges and things were open. I still would have been at the hotel. And, when people finally get finished with their day's work, these are very professional people. They were on work mode. But if I stayed later, 50% of the people I would have met and talked to were men, and they finally would have begun to unwind. After all the conference was over, people come to San Francisco to have a good time. So I'm just like someone you have a little fun with, and there are men around the world who do like women like me. There are 3.9 billion men in this world. Everybody's not looking for a skinny mini, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's not looking for a 20-year-old. I don't care what you heard. But no, I wasn't going to stay that long today. I have a whole life out here to live. And on this occasion, catching a man was not on the agenda. But I'm just saying, statistically, If you locate yourself into environments where people have their life enough together that they don't have to be jealous of you and try to pull you down and pull themselves up, statistically, you're going to meet men from that class of people too. So it's a thought. But today I went to get some specific information about the industry that I invest in. And boy, did I find out $1 trillion worth. Now I just got to figure out, how do I position myself to get in on that? But I've got the data now. It's up here under my hat. Literally. It's done now. And I'll keep my eyes peeled. Somebody may bring a summit to town that isn't quite as technical. I might put the money together for a ticket to be there with my little set of this. I'll have this on and have my little hide. I'm tags. Because again, it doesn't matter who doesn't think you shouldn't be there. You just tell yourself that you should, and you go. Just like I did today. Alright, I'm going to have to take this hat off, because I already know I'm going to get blown off the other side of the hill. And this is my sister's hat, so thank you, Samantha, for the hat. I can't let it get blown out to San Francisco Bay. So I'm going to head on back to the house now, but I want to let you know, today was a success. The art of professional party crashing. Go to where the information and the people are that you want to meet. Go do it. Is it harder during COVID? Yes, it is. Because again, when people get up into other new people's face, you risk your life. We've had that established for 2 years. That's just sort of the way it is. And professional people, they have a lot at stake. So it's not as easy as it was. If you stay till a later hour, though, it gets easier. I just chose not to do that today. And just keep your ears open, because you don't know who may sit down next to you and what they may know or what they may talk about that they don't know you can put together with other things. But if you don't go, you don't have the opportunity to learn. So get used to fitting into places where people don't expect you to be, and just keep your ears open. Take a computer. I got my day's work done sitting there and listening to the conversations around me. So I'm going to get paid today either way, and I'm going to pay myself for my future. There's not enough today to potentially pay for my entire retirement if I can put everything together. But the main thing is, couldn't have happened if I didn't go. So find out what's going on in the world and get out there and get after it. Alright, y'all have a good day now. Goodbye. Thank you for listening.